Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special segment of the SWW show. It is me, August, from Game of Humans. Almost Civ-like. Game. Would that be an
Hi,
accurate
everyone.
description?
Yeah, I would say so. It's what we like to call it internally is we like to call it a town builder. Like we're trying to make something that's between a city builder of the more strategic type where you place buildings and you focus on the big stuff, and something more personal like The Sims. So we're calling it a town builder and trying to create our own niche.
Now that you say that, that's a totally accurate description because, yeah, it's not a Sim City, but it's not a Civ 5 or 6.
And
You,
it's not really personal on the level that The Sims is. We're instead trying to simulate like group dynamics. The goal is to simulate group dynamics of like 50 to 200 people, like enough that individuals matter, but big enough that every individual doesn't really matter, and they kind of blend into a big background mess.
that's actually a really interesting way to take, like, a lot of these games that are like kind of impressive to be impressive have 1,000 people
Yeah,
like that, and like, okay, that's cool. But for me personally, games like this where there is kind of these individualistic people and they have their own, I like that a lot more than The Witcher, where, oh, we have 1,000 people in this town, cool. They all have, like, 90% of them have the same voice.
yeah, but it's hard to compare an RPG game
Yeah.
with a simulation game. I mean, The Witcher is just it's handcrafted content you go through, while a simulation game we have more in common with stuff like Sims or RimWorld or Dwarf Fortress, though we're trying to do our own thing and not be too inspired. I mean, I see a lot of games that are obviously very heavily inspired by Dwarf Fortress, and that's not a bad thing because it's a great game. But it's tricky to out Dwarf Fortress because it's already Dwarf Fortresses so well.
It's a combination of words I thought I'd never hear. Can't out Dwarf Fortress because it's already the dwarf.
Yeah, well, the same goes for a lot of games. I mean, for some reason, every game hit spawns a bunch of Me Too copies that's essentially a watered down version of the same game.
That was too many. My brain broke. That's too many F's in a row saying that phrase. That's like Sally sells seashells by the seashore.
I love the
F's
tongue
instead of
twister.
S's. For me, they're not tongue twisters. They're brain twisters because I'm trying to remember what the phrase. Anyway, a game of humans is. I had a blast playing it.
I'm glad to hear.
Yeah, once I figured out that, oh, you can't just do one square houses. Okay, now I'm good.
Yeah, I know. We're trying to do most of the information instead of like a lot of games. There are a lot of really great games that are tough to play because you need like a big manual, need to understand them. We've put a lot of thought into trying to make things obvious from the get-go. In the same way that like you can put anyone in front of The Sims, like even your mother, and she's gonna figure stuff out just based on the icons, what happens, and the feedback you get. It's not entirely there yet. It's coming in next quarter, Q3. But as soon as all the basics are in, the game is supposed to be self-teaching in a way that I think a lot of strategy and city builder games kind of miss the simplicity and the ease of interaction due to an overemphasis on going too deep too quick.
Yeah, I guess my only complaint that I had right off the bat was I'm so used to. I just got into that Sims kind of mindset of there's really, I mean, there's very few restrictions on how big something has to be.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't paying attention. It's totally my fault. I wasn't paying attention to colors for the squares. Oh, I'm doing a 1x1 or, 1x2 house. Why it's not working? And then I stopped, tried again, and realized, oh, hey, the color changes. Maybe if I had
Yeah,
actually, maybe if I had paid attention.
yeah, that should be solved by stuff like tutorials and things, which are coming later. Another thing that I know some people have had an issue with is since plots actually cost money. I mean, a character immigrates to your city and he comes with a randomized set of coins, maybe has 20 coins. The house costs 12 coins and the farm costs 15. He's not going to be able to afford both. So he's going to buy the house, start living, and then people are confused. Why is he not buying the farm? We have a bunch of features coming down the line which are going to fix and make that more obvious. Stuff like a character going up to a farm, doing a little sad animation and thinking, oh, I wish I could afford this. I mean, have you ever played Roller Coaster Tycoon?
Yes.
Or Rimworld or stuff like that? You have the entire thought system. Thoughts are an excellent way of expressing why a character does something or why they are not doing something. So as soon as that makes it into the game, a lot of those things I believe should become a lot more self-explanatory.
Well, hopefully you don't go full roller coaster tycoon because for me, inevitably what happens is I find somebody that doesn't like the part and then I trap them in and I'm kind of an overlord.
Well, we might
Anybody
or we
bad.
might not add evil faith powers. That's part of the fun. I mean, you want to give people a reason to care and then give them tools to interact with the things they care about. So you're going to have elections and stuff. Like, that's one of the upcoming features I'm most excited about. Mind if I tell you?
Or
The elections, the way I'm picturing them now and the way they're being implemented, is you're going to have a lot of people in your town. They're going to have relations with each other, and you're all going to end up voting for mayor. So when the mayoral elections take place, everyone goes to the ballot, drops their vote, and then at the end of the day, you get presented with three candidates, the three candidates that got the most votes. And you, as the player, get to pick which candidate should become mayor. And each candidate is going to come with drawbacks and positives. For example, if one candidate has 90% of the votes and you don't elect that guy, well, a lot of people are going to be pissed. But even if you do elect that guy, maybe that guy has someone he doesn't like, and maybe the guy he doesn't like happens to be your blacksmith that's very talented, and that might make life very troublesome for your blacksmith. Or maybe the mayor wants to raise or lower taxes, and that's going to cause havoc on your intention of plan, so to speak. So the entire idea with the game is you want to have social situations and dynamics develop, and you as the player get to react to those. And combined with faith powers and putting out plots and thinking about stuff, the game's going to keep going on and stuff's going to happen, and you're simply going to have to react to it.
so you're saying I can rig elections and have political corruptness and create the United States all over again.
You can try to rig elections, but in the end, people do what the people want to do. Of course, we'll see which faith powers end up in the game eventually. The ones in the game now are kind of simple because, I mean, a lot of the complex social dynamic stuff isn't in yet, but as soon as that makes it in, you're going to be able to add a lot more interesting social dynamic stuff, like you kind of cast a curse on someone and makes him hate his best friend or something like that. And that's going to add a whole nother level to the whole simulation thing.
All right, so I can create my own little Donald Trump and have him once his friend is no longer useful, shun them and
Well, if you accept that Donald Trump is controlled by an all-powerful being casting curses on him, then yes.
I mean, it wouldn't be the weirdest thing.
No, I suppose not.
But this game was, I mean, when I was playing it, it was fun to just let it run. All these games are like that. Kind of set up what I want. Okay, this should work. let it go. And I would love a setting on a computer where you can just let a program run, shut your monitors off, other than shutting them off, just let it go. Because I'm in the same situation with Satisfactory, Astroneer, where I've got my automation up and running, and now it's just time. I just need the time to let the stuff run, let it do its thing. Yeah, that's I think a personal problem for me.
It's the direction the game is heading in. I mean, I can share with you one original thing I tried out like way early in the process when I was still trying to figure out what the game was going to be. That turned out to not work as well as I'd hoped. My first idea was that instead of you placing you place a farm plot and someone can buy the farm. You place a blacksmith plot, someone buys the blacksmith. You place a inn plot, someone buys the inn. My first idea was that you would only be able to place house plots. People would immigrate, and then they would pitch you like, hey, I want to open a blacksmith. Am I allowed to do this? If yes, tell me which area to build my blacksmith in. Which sounds like even saying it now, it sounds like a good idea, like a good feature. But as soon as I tried out a basic implementation of it, what it ended up being was like, when you place civilization or something and you press next turn, you get 50 notifications. Now imagine that, but in real time. Like you got so spammed with notifications and stuff happening, and it turned out stressful instead of calming.
Yeah, I can see where that suddenly becomes a stressful situation that nobody wants to deal with.
Yeah, so I switched the feature to giving people more control by just placing the plots they want directly instead, and then the characters get to decide which plot they actually buy.
It's the you know what, you want to do it, just do it yourself. Answer that every parent has to their
kid. Yeah, but the further you get in the process, the more obvious things like that become. I mean, before I started making games myself, I sometimes listened to developer talks, and there were talks like speaking of Civ, there was a talk from Sid Meier where he talked about the first version of Civ was actually real time. It wasn't turn-based. And then he switched it to turn-based, and it all made so much more sense. And looking back at it from the modern perspective, it looks so obvious. Like, of course, turn-based is going to work really well. It's going to be hard to do this in real time for this and that reason. But when you're early on in the process, the stuff that's so obvious later, it's not that obvious.
It's the fog of war.
Really?
You got to clear out the fog of war on your tech tree, and then life is just...
Yeah, that's one life philosophy.
It's got to work through your tech tree and make sure that you min-max the right way. And hope you don't come out on the other end min-maxed for I don't know, playing the, hate to say it, but playing the flute, and then you have no other skill.
Yeah, I sometimes use game analogies to what you call it, fix/improve my life. Sometimes I think, okay, well, today I've worked way too hard. I need to play some Sims. And what I mean by that is I need to take care of the other meters. I need to have some fun. I need to clean. I need to do the stuff that keeps Sims me happy. Because I have a tendency to, you sometimes do in Sims, work. You need a promotion.
Yeah. But you also need the money.
Yeah, so it's complicated, just like in The Sims.
Yep. Who knew life in video games could be so entertaining?
Yeah, especially when you model a game on life. How is that possible?
They kind of nailed it.
Yeah, they did. It took them a lot of iterations, but it's pretty cool. I'm hoping to do a similar journey, but time will tell.
Yeah, I can definitely see the building blocks in this I can totally see it becoming a sim light where, or it could even reach, complexity of the Sims where everything, but for a lot of these games, doing everything ends up becoming a chore.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to avoid that trap, because I've played a lot of games that are great, and then you play them for 100 hours, and you're thinking to yourself, oh, this is great. I just wish I didn't have to do this thing over and over again. Or the game design somehow encourages you, like every 10 years or so, you need to open a menu, press a button to activate a modifier. And there's all these little things you start needing to memorize to play the game most efficiently. I mean, I understand some people don't have that curse, but if there is an efficient way to play a game and a fun way, I will do the efficient way. And I will hate myself for not doing the fun way, but I can't not do it the efficient way.
Oh, that's me playing Civ 5. My goal is always, okay, let's go nuke as fast as we can. And then, so the game's never fun. It's just it's this ultimate just push towards, okay, I need to build up my military so when we do discover uranium, I can go take over the civs that have it.
Yeah, a buddy of mine here at the company, we used to play a lot of Civ 5 together. But after, like, the issue with Civ 5, and Civ 5 is a great game, I'm not complaining about it, but the issue with it is that it ends up being deterministic in the sense that when you've played 30 multiplayer games, you know who is going to win the game pretty early on based on what's already happened. Because there are no curveballs, there's nothing unexpected coming. I know I ended up in a good spawn spot, I have these and these cities, I can knock out that AI, and I know I'm going to win because I'm going to have a science lead because of that, and I'm going to get this wonder before my friend does, and it's like you start seeing how it's all going to play out, like way ahead. Civ 6, I did a great job reworking that with the whole, I don't know what they call it, but you know, when you do something and that makes a tech take half the time instead.
Well, I will say I'm extremely looking forward to a game. Is there any? It's early. It's in early access right now. Figure what, a year in early access?
Oh, that's a tricky question. It's in early access for as long as it needs to be in early access. I set 1.5 years as the goal, but honestly, we'll see about that. I mean, early access, after all, is just a stamp. I mean, the intention is to finish the roadmap, which been made public. And if the roadmap is finished as patches, I mean, after all, early access is just a title you put on the game. Say you do half the content you want to do. You say you're done with early access, but you keep pushing patches after early access. I mean, what is really the difference except you've gotten rid of the early access stamp? So in the end, I think I'm going to get rid of the early access stamp on Steam as soon as I feel that the game can stand on its own and it doesn't. As soon as I can motivate why it's no longer early access. But that doesn't mean features are not going to keep coming. I mean, look at a game like Terraria. They went out of early access 7 years ago, and they kept doing content, and here they are 50 million copies later or whatever. I mean, if you end up with a formula that you can add to, which is what we've been aiming with this game, there's no reason to not keep doing content as long as there's something to do to it.
Well, you can find A Game of Humans on Steam, $18, which is a very acceptable price for what you've got in terms of it's a very complex game. Even if it doesn't seem it at first, there's a lot of systems that I've seen in place where it's kind of run it on its own and its thing. August, it was great talking to you.
Yeah, thank you.
All the success for your game.
Thank you. I hope all the success for your podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special segment of the SWW show. I'm here with Scott Brody, maker of We Are The Caretakers, or as it says here, an Afrofuturist sci-fi squad management RPG. I feel like that is a string of words I've never seen together.
Yeah, we try to make unique games, and this one's no exception. It definitely. First, thanks for having me on. The game is kind of a blend of genres. It's a bit like a Darkest Dungeon or an XCOM at the start, where you're trying to recruit characters and form them into squads. You can have up to 9 squads. And then you send them out into the field to protect these endangered sci-fi animals called the Ron from poachers, and eventually you find out there are aliens. So it's kind of a big, sprawling strategy game that exists across a whole bunch of different levels.
I feel like pre all of this stuff going on right now, aliens were still a sci-fi thing. But during all of this, when the Pentagon announced that, oh yeah, there's been UFOs that have been on Earth, I feel like suddenly aliens is not a sci-fi topic anymore. Like, it's just, we've got the doomsday clock, obviously, that's counting down till mutually assured destruction. We need an aliens clock that's like, okay, when are they going to visit again?
Yeah, well, we joke on the team that, like, when we started this project 2 years ago, this was a very far-flung sci-fi concept, but now with the pandemic and aliens and all this stuff, it's becoming closer to a documentary. So it's I still find it to be a really interesting mix of topics, and it's definitely rooted in some real world ideas. But fundamentally, it's just a fun sci-fi strategy game.
Well, as long as it's fun. Because I don't know, have you been? I won't spoil anything if you haven't been. Listeners, have you been playing The Last of Us?
I haven't yet, no.
Okay. Did you play Uncharted 4?
I'm about halfway through. As you can tell, I'm a busy guy, so I don't get a chance to play the big AAA games as much as the indies. But feel free to spoil for me.
I'm not going to spoil anything about the story or anything like that. But there is a point in Uncharted 4, and I've hit it in Last of Us 2, where the story's still engaging, but it's becoming a slog to get through. And I mean, the game's still fun, but it's very much like, okay, we can kind of get this rolling a little bit here and not have to do, oh, you have to climb down this entire building. Maybe cutscene that or something else. But yeah, there's definitely a point in both games where it's like, okay, the fun is starting to wane. The story's still there, but in terms of gameplay, it's starting to be, okay, this is a 30-hour game, and I'm apparently only halfway through it, and
our game definitely doesn't do that, but I do think it's interesting to see some of the discussion lately about AAA, both from the sustainability of making those types of games, as well as how their design is evolved to kind of justify themselves. It does feel like there's a lot of filler and a lot of replay of mechanics just to kind of justify the larger cost at times. So I definitely prefer working in the indie space a bit more because we can just focus on making the game we want to make and not be so concerned about length. And typically the games that I've worked at with Heart-Shaped Games are focusing less on these sort of content set pieces and more on these replayable systems. And I think our game is very much that, where you kind of have this randomly generated kind of group called the Caretakers with 20 different classes, and every playthrough, while there are definitely some core beats that you'll hit, there'll be a lot of variation through that stemming from our systems. So I definitely tend towards those things, and though I enjoy a good AAA game every now and then, I definitely agree with you that sometimes they can not focus so much on the fun and more about presenting like a list of features that justify a bigger price point.
I mean, while the price was a little high, I was perfectly fine with that. I don't know if you ever got to experience it. The Order, Team 6, I believe it's called. Like, it was, I think, 6 hours. And there's no reason to replay it, but it was just in and out. Like, that's a gutsy move to charge $60 for it, but I was like, okay, I'm in and out and I'm done. Fun experience. Whereas like a game like this, a game like We Are The Caretakers, and in a greater extent these 4X games, the Civs, the XComs,
Mm-hmm.
the enjoyment from them is very much like you said, like go through this and there's beats, but it's how you I was going to use a music term there. I was going to say how you interpret the beats
Right.
and fill in. It's like it's going to bug me because it's on the tip of my tongue who the interview is, but it was I think one of the guys from Wu-Tang Clan. He goes, "I have 16 dots on the paper to make my verse,
Right.
and those are the beats, and how you fill those in is how you're going to experience that." And games like 4X games, especially, they've got those 16 dots, and it's how you hit those dots that makes the enjoyment. I will say, yours looks to be hitting the dots in all the right ways, especially with when it comes to art style. A very unique art style in a very good way.
Yeah, no, thank you. I mean, that's definitely what we were going for. So we partnered very early on with an artist named Anthony Jones. He used to work at Blizzard and cinematics. He worked on StarCraft 2 and a lot of their games, and he just brought a level of like one skill, to it to make the game feel somewhat AAA, I suppose, is a way to put it in terms of like the quality, but he just has an inventiveness to him that permeates the game. And yeah, we were really lucky to work with him. And I think we also, not only from the art, but also I would say early on, we invested in a world building process. So we thought really hard about all pieces of the world and how they connect together, and not just having a generic town, like what is this civilization? And I think all that work we did really helped lead to something unique and that also feels cohesive, like within itself.
Yeah, cohesiveness is definitely a thing that I think more people need to focus on. Uh, Makers all over the span. I mean, you can have really cool idea, two really cool ideas, but it's that blending of those ideas. I can think of several large games that had some big ideas, a couple big ideas, and they just, boy, drop the ball. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, like as you've said, like this seems to be a game that it'll engage from start to finish, and me, like that's always the enjoyment in these 4X games. I don't even know how many times I've played Civ 5 and the games are 15 hours, but it feels like it went by in an instant
Yeah.
because you're strategizing everything. There's always something there.
Right. I think Sid Meier always talks about like just that one more turn feel. And I think, there are a lot of things that continue to kind of motivate you forward. And in our game, we definitely have, a tech tree. We definitely have the like desire to upgrade your characters to the new job classes. There's definitely a collecting element of the game, and outfitting, and just an exploration piece. And I do think one of the things I've been pleasantly surprised with our feedback when we did our recent beta was how much people are responding to kind of our unique story, written by Xavier Nelson Jr. And so I think all those things combined and setting them out in a way where there's sort of always something to look forward to, is a big part of both those other classic games like Civilization as well as our game, or at least we're trying to hit that mark.
That's good to hear. It's hitting marks because, I mean, like, especially something that you guys have a planned date of Q3. As long as you hit marks, like, you should be able to hit that, and hopefully we don't have the story of, We Are the Caretakers delayed. Oh, there's a
Well, yeah, we're a fairly, this is the biggest team I've worked with. We've been up to, I think, 8 people at some point, but we're still relatively small compared to a lot of those bigger games. But we feel pretty good about where we're at, and we're going to release, like you said, in that sort of fall time frame for early access, and then our hope is to kind of work with the community to continue to basically spend some time in early access to continue to build it out, particularly with more missions and all those types of things, but also just feeling out like what type of game people want from it, because we are blending quite a few genres like we've talked about, and it is interesting to see like what people respond to, and maybe where people were expecting something else when they came into the game, but they enjoy it, or they were really hoping for something else. Like, for example, our encounter system right now is much more almost like an auto battler. So you can encounter the other poachers with your squads, and when you do, it goes into kind of almost like a JRPG kind of turn-based strategy, turn-based combat system. But in this case, you sort of set the orders for your group, and then kind of let them go, and your choices that you made in composing that squad will kind of determine the outcome of the game. You have some small ways to interrupt that, like we've got some supplies and things you can use if you really got yourself into trouble. But fundamentally, you don't have as much like direct control. So it's been interesting to see who really likes that system and who maybe is put off by that. So we're excited to go into early access and be able to kind of adjust that to make sure everyone's enjoying it.
I will say that I've noticed, hopefully this trend continues, games releasing into early access, that for me at least, if a game releases into early access and it looks competent, so menus, art style, like if that stuff is pretty good,
mm-hmm.
I am much more likely to invest in the early access experience of the game, but also kind of let some maybe behind the scenes mechanics slide, that, oh, maybe this isn't exactly how it's going to work, but if it looks good, that's for me, because I mean, my background is film and movie production, so seeing visuals for me are always if it looks good, I'm much more likely to let stuff slide. If it's, early access game that looks like wireframes, and they're like, oh, we're going to have this great art style, I'm going to wait.
Right.
Whereas with you guys, and an interview we did recently with guys that made Ember, that looks like a game like is going to be released, not in early access. And at least from what I've seen today, We Are the Caretakers could be a game that releases not early access release.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. And this will be my first time really doing early access. I've done a Kickstarter with my last game, Hero Generations, which is a little different, but I definitely think we'll be treating early access as, what we ship is polished and is worth your money, but we'll also set the expectation that we're definitely going to be expanding it. And the whole point is to get feedback and to work with the players to make sure that we're ultimately making something that they really, really want. And we've had a lot of good experiences with that. Like I try my best to like set a vision and, be a creative leader and all this. But at the end of the day, I found the most effective way to kind of get from a core idea to like a more successful play experience is just through play testing. So to me, this is just an extension of the play testing process we've been doing. And I really just enjoy having a community around the game in general.
For those that are interested, you guys were announced during Escapist Indie Showcase, and currently got some stuff up on Steam because you guys were part of the festival.
Yep.
First called.
We did the spring one and we just did the summer one. So yeah, we had our what we were calling our beta, but basically a limited time demo was up there for a week. And yeah, we were part of the Escapists did like a big, digital showcases as a lot of the outlets are doing these days. And so we got to release a new trailer that showed off some cool gameplay and a little glimpse of those aliens we talked about earlier. But yeah, our focus right now is on early access in the fall. And then we did also announce in that we are beginning work on the console side of things as well, that we would release whenever we decide to go 1.0, out of early access, which will probably be next year.
I'll be interested to see how you guys can translate stuff over to the console, because for me, these style of games, and maybe it's just because I don't know why, I've been playing video games almost my entire life, but I'm somehow inept at a controller when thinking about strategy games. Because I tried to play Diablo is okay, but I tried to play XCOM, one of the XCOMs on a console, and for whatever reason, my brain just could not click with, okay, you need to do this and then this, or this button plus this button plus this button. For whatever reason, I'm just better with a keyboard.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways I share that. Like I don't necessarily go to consoles for strategy games, but I do usually go there for RPGs and management games and things like that. And so I think because our game blends a lot of those genres, we have a lot of reference points for how to do that. And I think for the one of like the big challenges, because our field is an RTS with pause, so it's not like a Twitch RTS, but you definitely have to navigate sort of a 3D top-down map. That's kind of been a difficult problem, but we've seen a couple other games that have done it, and we're kind of excited with the control scheme we've come up with. I mean, not to go into too many details, but like we're basically letting you control the camera versus the mouse, and you kind of use the center point of the camera as sort of your hot zone to select things. And it seems to be working out pretty well right now, but again, we definitely have a lot of time to get feedback on that and make sure it works for everyone.
Cool. Maybe I'll be able to wrap my head around scheme for that.
Yeah, we'll have to get you an early copy to make sure we're doing it right for you.
It'll be my, okay, how does this work? That's, of course, I kind of put that on myself because I mainly only play, like, I have my PS4, my PC, and then I have a Switch that I barely use anymore. And RPG, or like kind of these RTS style games, I've tried on the Switch now because when I had a commute, I would use that.
Right.
And for whatever reason, having that screen in between my hands just like broke my brain of trolling things. Put it on a regular controller, maybe. Let's see.
Yeah. I don't know. I love the Switch. I'm maybe a little more adventurous than of trying new games on there. But yeah, I think part of it is just I'm really excited to have our game on different consoles, and I really just want to remove kind of any barriers for people who maybe have the opposite problem as you, who just don't touch a PC and want to still be able to play the game. I can't tell you how many people we had come up to us at our booth at PAX East and basically say like, "Oh, I can't. Oh, do you have a controller, or is this on whatever console?" So I definitely think there are a lot of people on the opposite side who just have console and decided that, that's just how they're going to play games. So it's really just about broadening, the amount of people who can actually try it out.
That's cool. Well, it's been fun to talk, Scott, and really looking forward to We Are The Caretakers coming out in access fall, otherwise known as Q3. I don't know what it's going to be called in 2020 timeline. Like, I don't even know what quarter we're in right now. I feel like it's still April. I know it's late June.
Yeah, we'll just start calling it, after quarantine, AQ. We'll just have a new timeline.
AQ 0 is 2020. Yeah.
Well, cool. Thanks so much for having me. It was great talking with you. And you're a former Michigander, is that right? Because
I'm still a Michigander.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, so we're local.
Well, everyone, you can check out We Are The Caretakers coming this fall, Steam and consoles. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special segment of the SWW show. It's me, AJ. I'm here with Sam from Dogwood Gaming, makers of Knife Fight, a interesting apostrophe thrown in there.
Had to make it there so you could perfectly pronunciate the knife.
Knife, okay. Knife Fight, gotcha.
Yeah.
Also, amazing SEO, because now you are probably the only thing where it's K apostrophe.
That's the hope right there.
Although now that I say that, I'm sure there's going to be
Hey, everybody listening to this is going to go put an apostrophe in their game titles. We got a new trend going.
Hey, if we can start that trend on this show, that'll be my new Twitter bio. Like, started the letter apostrophe trend in games. Like,
soon you'll start being A apostrophe J. It'll be great.
No. But your game, this is you call it party brawler, as I think everybody else would understand it, a Smash-like game in which you are restaurant utensils.
Of all kinds. Yeah, we have it right now where those are the 3 we have in the demo. We're hoping that on release there are 6 or 7. I gotta check right again, but there's definitely a lot more coming than just those basic 3. We just kind of wanted to cover, like we have a fast character, an average character, and then a slow and heavy character.
So how you guys need to announce it is you need to riff off of the Smash announcement pictures. A new foe approaches or a new challenger.
Oh, we want to do really, it's already a pretty ridiculous game. We want to go really over the top with how we're able to, show off the game. We want to put a full story mode in, and we want every part of that story to be told through a dramatic art piece that, depicts the epic adventure these utensils are having.
You know what? I wouldn't put it past you, because this thing looks... Ridiculous is the right word and the wrong word to describe the look of this game. Because the connotation of saying this looks ridiculous is unfortunately a bad connotation. But this is...
I wear it as a badge of honor.
This is the perfect... if you want to talk about something looking ridiculous in a good way, Knife Fight is definitely the thing to point to of, this is ridiculous, but it works, and it's hilarious, and you guys definitely landed on something there.
I really appreciate it. This game was really special to all of us, because it kind of came at a point where we were working on really serious projects, and we're like, oh, I don't know how we're going to do this. And then actually my musician came up to me and he was like, so what if we did this where we had utensils fighting with Knevin the Knife? And here we are today. So,
well, I guess that's one way to get a name.
Yeah, it was. It definitely stuck out, and I definitely remembered it.
And so, not only do you have obviously kitchen utensils, dining utensils, you guys have tie-ins with actual restaurants. Like, the demo level that's out there right now is Hysteria Brewing out of Maryland.
Yeah.
And so here, it's a weird thing to say of here, let me pitch you this idea, but just do like the fun announcement photo of like a spatula on a table with the name of a place in the background, and
Okay.
those are your new release photos of like how you announce content is like just the most random, like here's a utensil on a table at like
That's actually brilliant. That was so what our musician was originally suggesting. He was like, "Oh, for all of our social media content, we just got to make videos of us like playing with forks and spoons." And I mean, yeah, that is pretty much the game.
yeah. So you're based in the is it still called the DMZ or the DMV? Not DMZ.
DMV,
DMV.
yeah, DMZ's not such a nice
Yeah.
place. The DMV's not too bad.
So you're based there. Are you guys looking at mainly restaurants and pubs in that area, or are you
No, not
kind of like
exclusively.
northeast as well, or
So I'm very fortunate that I actually am able to run most of the company through Discord because most of the people who I work with are all over the world. And we're trying, I mean, it's kind of hard, especially now, for me to reach out to somewhere in like, I don't know, the Southwest and be like, hey, I want to do your restaurant because I can't really get out there.
right?
But I have people that work with me who are all over the world, and we've had some really interesting places pitched to us as locations. Like one of our artists lives in France, and like every single place that she's shown us has been a gem. So we have lots of content, and I've been really happy that all these restaurants have been so thrilled to like work with us on this. It's kind of a weird pitch when you're just like having a drink somewhere, and you're like, "Hey, you want to have your bar be in a video game?"
So hearing about the person in France, what you should do, you should get the book, the Michelin star book,
Uh-huh.
and then just every 3-star place, just contact them.
Just like keep calling them, hey, you want to be in a video game?
Like
I'm really hope
um,
I'm really hoping now because like especially the restaurants are really having a hard time right now.
yeah,
This is a lot of like this is free publicity, and we're able to help them out as
yeah.
well because we don't I don't go there and ask for anything. I just want to be able to use their space as a reference, and I mean like it definitely helps them out as well, and that makes this a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can just like it's not like you're going in and being like, "Hey, so we're going to model this restaurant like seat for seat in VR or something like some
Yeah,
weird
we're
like
not going for like perfection here,
yeah.
but like some of the stuff is, there are like key pieces that are actually in Hysteria that were super important. Like you probably saw the like giant clock that's there. That came out so well. I am like beyond happy how that asset came out.
So, yeah, just like go to these places in New York. I know there's a couple of 3 stars in New York and be like, all we need basically is a photo from this specific point of view,
And we'll never bother you again.
and that's it.
That's the hope. Is I mean, like the ultimate dream is if Knife Fight can actually get some traction, be able to actually go to these bigger places. That would be really cool. Yeah, because a lot of places we haven't had a whole lot getting in touch with them, unfortunately.
Yeah. I can totally see Knife Fight being like, unfortunately, it probably won't be this year because socio-political situations.
The thing,
The
yeah.
thing. Yeah. I don't think our podcast network will pull us down if we mention it because I mentioned it before and we're fine.
No, I'm sure you're fine.
Like fighting game tournaments are getting postponed or canceled or put online or
Oh yeah.
things like that. Like this is a game that can perfectly fit into a regional fighting game tournament. Just like hey, got this running while you guys are waiting for stage show for MK to start. Here's this.
Yeah.
Like this could totally be the next game that rises from that because it's ridiculous enough to be a talking point.
Well, that was our thing. Was we wanted it to be fun first, and it's like, and that's been one of like some of my favorite moments working on this game have been deciding what the special moves are for all the characters. Like the spoon can shoot peas across the map, or like the rolling pin is able to go sideways and literally roll across enemies. Like it's just really great, like all the kinds of things we can do with it. But balancing is definitely going to take quite a while.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's definitely points where balancing doesn't seem to really matter because look at the popularity of kind of the game that started this genre, Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
There's a tier of characters. If you're not playing that tier, you're screwed. So
it was also, we looked at that and we wanted it to be that, in a perfect world, we would like to grow this and we would like to do big things with the multiplayer. And that's one of the big things. And I will promise it here on your podcast is online multiplayer will be functional when the game comes out. Because that's so important. And we want it to be that, every character has its own interesting strengths. And it's been easier to do that now because there aren't that many characters. But I know as the roster gets bigger and bigger and bigger, it's going to become harder. But we want it to be that you can really play anything and you're not going to be at a disadvantage. You feel me?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I don't even play it that much anymore. I was going to say when I was playing Rainbow Six Siege, listening to the dev diaries of like, so we want this, but need a way to counter it. And it's just going to be incredibly tough for characters that were released 4 years ago in the game.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, I get it, for anybody. Like, if a studio the size of, I think it's Montreal now that runs that, like, if they're having a tough time balancing, I give all the credit in the world to these small teams that can create a just functioning game, a fighting game, where there are certain strategies where you can play any character. It's not like it's not like the knife does 50 damage every hit, and nobody can block it.
Yeah,
it's competent, at least.
That was the other big thing we wanted to do with it was that we actually so. In Smash, they have like grabs are a very important thing. We want to do something different with it. So instead of grabs, we have reversals. So the game is supposed to be set that you have two special moves and you have a reversal at your disposal. The special moves are anybody can pick those up. Like it's one of them is designed to be very easy to use. The other is more circumstantial. So just based on how much you use the character, you'll know when to use different moves. There's a reversal that if you are able to frame perfect counter like heavy attacks coming against you, you will then do that damage they were doing to you to the person coming at you. That feature is still like we're still testing that pretty heavily, but it's really been a lot of fun to see what people can do when they're able to actually perfectly counter people. And I think people love those moments in fighting games.
Yeah, everybody loves the why can't I think of the Legendary Fighter 2 final at EVO?
Oh,
15 years Daigo. I think it was Daigo and just that back and forth. Everybody loves, like, it's always the fun discussion when you're talking to people that aren't into games necessarily. Like, maybe their kids play games.
Mhm.
They're like, I don't see the enjoyment in that. Meanwhile, they're watching like the Golf Channel.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're like, so have you ever seen a boxing match? Because fighting games are always the easiest to describe. You ever seen
Yeah.
a boxing match? Oh yeah, absolutely. We grew up watching them. That's all they are. And slowly they start to okay. Maybe
Yeah,
not
it's just
necessarily
you
convert,
controlling
but
the boxing
yeah,
match.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is definitely one of those games where it's easily describable, but I'm sure endlessly enjoyable.
I appreciate it. We're doing our best. It's a process though, but we're definitely getting there at least. I feel like it's made a lot of progress.
It's not going to be enjoyable for me because I'm just terrible at these games. I fully admit that.
You're totally fine. I'm still learning as I'm going developing it, so
I will never be good at any of these brawler games. Same before we started recording. Put me in front of Street Fighter and I can figure it out.
yeah.
Put me in front of MK, I can figure it out. I'll probably lose, but
But you'll do your best.
yeah, I can at least put some damage in. This, I was like, okay, just start mashing buttons. Let's see what works.
It gets very hectic, and we're hoping to do a bit more with the combo system as well. But this, like we said, bigger companies can spend forever doing balancing, and we're also going to spend forever doing balancing. It's just one of those things that you're going to have to tweak every single time you update anything.
Yeah.
So it'll be a constantly growing and learning process, hopefully.
So you mentioned the spoon can shoot peas. Is it a Hadouken motion?
Yeah. So we haven't gotten the particle effect working yet, but yes, that is what we wanted to have. We also there's a lot of like really, I guess the best way to put it is a lot of the fighting ideas that you've suggested, and I know that we have, but like I know we're thinking the same way for a lot of these things. Like we're doing our best to put them all into place. It's just finding the right ways to make them fit into Knife Fight.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I feel like that's the one motion everybody knows, whether they've played or not. Like everybody knows quarter circle forward.
Yeah,
and it's like that's an easy one to just quick flick out, and like it's all, no matter what game it is, that's always a projectile, which I love. I would love for a game just to make that like their uppercut or something like.
Yeah, it's the spoon's really interesting to test because he's the only one that has a ranged attack at the moment. So he's really interesting because as long as he's able to get away from you, you can't really do anything to stop him. But that's also just one way to play the game.
Distance fights.
Yeah,
I mean, you guys have a block.
I can't say they'll do really well.
Yeah.
What's that? I'm sorry.
You have a block at least, so
yeah,
it's only ideal until somebody figures out the block button. Then
it's also like it's a circumstantial thing, like if you're able to. So we actually have it well, I can't take too much credit because Unreal thankfully does a lot of the hard math for this, but the P is a projectile, so it actually has like an arc. So you're able to like if there's like if you had like 3 people online fighting each other and then you were outside of the group, you could very easily launch P's like into the center of combat from out of range.
P mortar, awesome.
Yes, yeah, there you go.
That'll be my strategy in this game. I'll just hop into online games, blaze the spoon, and just lob mortars in, just peas flying in.
You know what, AJ? I 100% got you. I will make sure that it has an incredible mortar-like particle effect when it hits. Just for you. I got you.
It has to be at like, a certain launch angle, but then it's just got the whistle.
Oh, yes. I was just thinking it needs the sound as it's coming in. Oh, that'd be so perfect.
Like between
I love this.
Between 35 and like 50, you get this just a whistle of a pea flying in.
Oh, this is perfect. Yes, 100% yes.
I tend to apparently pitch pretty good ideas on interviews to
Yeah, you got
developers,
my seal
so.
of approval.
I could also tell it was an Unreal game when I fired it up because instantly Steam VR popped up. It's like, no headset
really?
detected. And I'm like, no, I don't want to play in VR.
I'm
Because
surprised that
for
that was
whatever
a thing.
reason, my system, any Unreal game, Steam VR overlay pops up.
Really? That's
Yeah.
an interesting problem to have. that's,
Which,
that's a lot of games, I feel like.
yeah. I mean, yeah, at this point. But it's just the weirdest thing. It'll launch like a normal game. So I don't have to like close it out and restart it or anything like that. It's just the Steam VR kind of program and overlay pops up and is like, oh, headset detected. Of course.
Yeah, no
it's
kidding.
Not even plugged in, so
It's okay. I'm used to whenever I jump into any kind of like voice chats for this, it'll always insta connect to my VR headset, even though it's not plugged in. So
that's the
technology, man.
I did have
I claim that I kind of know what I'm doing.
I did have that issue when I was first on Discord, like my Vive was plugged in. Like, man, I can't hear you guys. I don't know why.
And it was all going through the headset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, my computer says it's routed through the speakers. I'm playing a YouTube video, so I know the sound works. And you guys can hear me, so my mic is working. So, and then finally I dug into Discord settings. And, oh, your audio output is to a Vive headset. And I'm like, no, change that. It's the weirdest thing.
Yeah, I guess they think we all want to use our VR headsets as glorified headsets.
It's like, ooh, headset. That's what we need.
I'd love to do a VR game eventually. I just feel like there's a lot that really goes into it, and it's also the kind of games I'd want to make in VR. I don't feel like we're quite there yet. You know, I feel like motion sickness is still far too easy for people to succumb to, you know?
A knife fight in VR, you play from the perspective of the utensil.
Oh God, can you imagine?
Do the attacks in the same way, and you're just gonna have people. Oh, I threw up all over my floor.
Yeah, you know, I played for like 30 seconds, and that was just the end of it.
That would, yeah. Anyway,
we wanted to do it. Yes,
it's the 31st of August, so it's soon. In the grand scheme of things, I guess at this point, I don't know how time works anymore. So
I feel that.
I feel like this is going to either be the fastest 6 weeks or the longest 6 weeks. Yeah, it'll be out on Steam. There is a demo. It's on the right side now for people that haven't used a demo.
Yeah, after we saw that, it is hidden on the right.
So blame Steam for that because it's their UI.
Yeah, August 31st is really soon, and every day I look at the release date, I remember how soon it actually is. But I mean, I can confidently say that Can I Fight It at now is about 80% done. The majority of the work is putting in the rest of the levels and the characters, and then the online multiplayer, which is forever a process. But I definitely think it's like August 31st gives us plenty of time to not only finish it, but also do a lot of polish and testing. So I think we'll be in good shape.
Well, I can't tell you how much polish it needs because I have no idea. Just
a lot of it's on the back end. A lot of it you would never see, but I'll notice something and it'll like kill me inside, and so I'd be like, I don't even notice it, and I'm like, yeah, but I can see it.
I'll be like, I don't notice it because I never interact with it playing the game, and because I'm just not that good.
That's totally fair, but I mean, like, there's some like small quality of life things, and that thankfully seems to be the majority of what I have to fix. It's just making it more accessible to people.
So we'll be able to understand the patch notes, not these some of the patch notes for some of these games that I see, you're like, oh, it broke this thing in this area. I'm like, I was there. I never experienced. That must be like somebody getting into the weeds.
Oh yeah, 100%. Well, I'm
Or
used to that.
somebody way better at the game figuring out how to exploit something.
I have this one friend who, for every game I make, he's written a script to try and break it. And we had this one game, Private Detective Punch Drunk, that had an online high score system put in. And he had this script that was an auto clicker. And back then, that was the first Unreal project we ever made. And we had it set up so that every time you clicked, the punching animation went. So because he had this script, he never left the punching animation, so he couldn't take damage. He was literally invincible, and so he would just flood my high scoreboard until he completely broke the entire system. So sometimes you just never know.
Well, that was what MK. If you were rolling, there were invincibility frames in the roll, so people were just.
Yeah.
I guess Dark Souls does it too, where people just exploited that and basically griefed people out of the arcade, and Dark Souls did it with griefing bosses, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, like, it's one of those things where you have to really take into account, okay, what my players are going to break this game. What are they going to do to break it?
Yeah.
But then if we end up breaking it and it's fun, we'll sometimes leave it in. But that's when it becomes a feature.
Yeah. If it's fun, it's a feature. If it's not fun, it's a bug.
Exactly.
Dealing with Mike and some of these others that we've interviewed, developers have told me anything. It's that. If it's fun, it's a feature. If it's not fun, it's a bug.
That's a good way to live life as a game developer. 100%. I mean, honestly, that's not even far from the truth. Like, I mean, looking back on like a bunch of stuff that's in Kunai Fight, probably the best example is we have this sushi level in there, and honestly, like, I don't think we're making like AAA games. You know, we're an indie studio, right? I think that sushi level is one of the most beautiful things we ever created, and it's because I misclicked the source light, and it looks and the lighting looks incredible. I have no idea what I did, but it looks absolutely phenomenal. Yeah.
Well, happy accidents. If Bob Ross taught us nothing,
Exactly.
it's a happy accidents game. So, Sam, thank you very much for coming on to do this interview.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
As it's properly pronounced, Kunai Fight, as it will be labeled in my storage system. Just
Can't have apostrophes, I know.
well, no, I'll look at it and go like, I would probably do a dash and be like, K-if what?
It's okay. That's how we have our Discord channel named.
I'll just confuse myself. Yeah, it was certainly fun talking to you. All the best for you and Dogwood and Forky, Knifey, and I don't have Spoon listed in the screenshots. Spoony.
My bad. Spoony.
Yeah.
Thank you, AJ. I really appreciate it. This was a lot of fun.
This podcast was a production of the SWW Show. To learn more, go to theswwshow.com. Remember, you can follow the show on Twitter at the SWW Show. You can follow me at Mikey_Maroney. You can follow AJ at LowSeatBoy. Remember, new episodes premiere on Friday, 9 a.m. Central Time on anchor.fm/SWW and podcast services around the globe.